Hi everyone, it's Key, and this is Kerbal Space Program. Just loaded up version 23 of the alpha, or pre-alpha, or whatever it is that they're actually calling it. It's not actually a released game. It's not even in beta yet, as far as I understand. It's still being developed, and it's being done by Squad, which is a fascinating company. It's a very, very good advertising company that do really special projects, but they let their employees periodically do something that they want to do. And one of their employees wanted to do a space game, and this is the space game that employee wrote. So this is one of the most wonderful space games that are out here today, but it's not being done by a game company. It's being done by some guy at an advertising company who really wanted to do a space game. So what could be better than that? I say nothing. So I'm going to call this Songs of Kerbal. I'm going to call the whole series Songs of Kerbal because there was a Mike Oldfield album called Songs of Distant Earth, I believe, and it's really, really wonderful music to listen to in the background when you're playing this game, because it's got all kinds of references to rocketry and being in space and having the craft you're riding in melting underneath you and evaporating as you're burning off your fuel. One of the big changes that's happened in version 0.23, is that now we have science, and science is the very gold upon which the foundation of this economy is built. This entire economy here is structured around what have we learned. And so until we have learned something, we know very little. And what we're going to begin with is the Command Mod Mark 1, originally built as a placeholder for a demonstration mock-up of a rocket. That's right, we're going to build rockets with something that was really intended as a demonstration of what rockets might look like, but never actually made one of those. And the engine is by the Jebediah Kerman's Junkyard and Space Ship Parts Co., although criticized by some due to its not insignificant use of so-called pieces found lying about. The LVT series has proven itself to be a comparably reliable engine. The T30 model boasts a failure rate below the 50% mark. This has been considered a major improvement over previous models by engineers and LVT enthusiasts, and you may count me among them. I am indeed a huge enthusiast of the T30 model of the LV engines. These are the things that we start with. This is all that we have to begin our program, and we are with these mere humble tools going to begin constructing what will become undoubtedly the most amazing science projects ever attempted by Kerbal kind, as we fling ourselves from this mortal coil into the heady distances of outer space. So we start again with our command module, which is really, this is the Curlington Model Rockets and Paper Products Inc. company. So this is basically a model rocketry idea of what a rocket might look like, and we thought that was a pretty good design because when we were in our backyards we were able to actually build rockets using these, so it should work if you put a person in it. And then the MK16 parachute we're going to put on top first. You'll note that we're putting parachutes on top of everything first because getting back down is more important than getting up. We don't want to lose any Kerbals today. The MK16 parachute might be considered by some to be a little more than a random stitching together of the surplus parts that it actually is. It is in fact made from. But the fact remains that the MK16 has been widely accepted to be a generally better alternative to being in freefall, and having been in freefall, I can only agree in the heartiest terms. Right now we don't have any subassemblies. We've got dang little science. All we've got is a Communitron 16, which is a car antenna that's been specially tuned for listening into secret government broadcasts of our own secret thoughts, so we can listen to our thoughts. If we're not sure what we're thinking, they're available. The FLT-200 fuel tank, Jebediah Kerman's Junkyard and Spaceships Parts Co., is let's see. The T-200 tank had some difficulty being accepted in the spacecraft engineering world because most rocket builders had trouble overcoming their urges to squee at the cute little tank. This initial reaction was only put aside when the amount of fiery explosives in assembly areas became so high, strict guidelines were put in place to prohibit teasing fuel containers. The T-200 tank itself is now widely used in several space programs, especially in conjunction with the LV-900 engine. We don't have any LV-900 engines. I wish we did. would use it if we did. Instead, we're going to strap one of these great big LVT-30 liquid engines on the bottoms, and we're going to see what happens when we fly this sucker. And now we need a name. And this first ship's name is not just the name for the ship, it's the name for the entire program. What is it that we are trying to do? What will we call this that will actually herald this new age in space? And I say that we name this What Could Possibly Go Wrong? There. This is the What Could Possibly Go Wrong 1. This will be our initial ship that will fly off. And we need to select a crew. And, oh, Jebediah Kerman has already volunteered, which is handy because he's the guy that most of these parts came from. It was his junkyard that supplied most of the stuff that's going into this flight. So let's let Jebediah fly this mission. We'll see what he thinks about the parts he sold us. Just have to take a quick look at my system. Quick look at my system. I'm taking a quick look at my system now. This is a new set of hardware, new set of software, new Kerbal program. Got a whole new set of how I'm actually handling things like the Mach factors the game's showing, things like that, to try to get this to actually record well and at a high enough definition that I actually want to look at it or watch it myself. And it's taken some time. This is actually, I think, probably the 30th time I've recorded this first mission. The first time I set up my microphone, there was too much keyboard noise, etc. Cats were knocking it over, things like that. So this is all kinds of how does this actually work? What do we actually do to get this gaming work? And you can see I've even turned off anti-aliasing because it was just enough extra overhead that when we'd hit Mach 1, the game would chug really bad. We'd get like 1 frame per 5 seconds. That's not what I want to do. That's not a fun game. Now, you may have seen over here in the corner I was dinking around with the staging controls, and that's because I want the engine to be in a separate stage than the parachute. Otherwise, when I fire stage 1, what's going to happen is that the explosive bolts in the chute fire at the same time. The chute comes out while the engine's firing, and the result is hilarious. But as we said, we don't want to kill any Kerbals today, so we're going to do this as properly as we can. The first step for Jebediah is to, let's go inside the cabin. We're going to initialize our stabilization systems, get road under control, and we're going to grab those mighty throttles and we're going to pull them all the way up. Yeah, baby. Okay, we are ready. We are absolutely ready. There isn't anything to see from the inside when we fire this bad boy off, so let's go outside. And in 3, 2, 1... The launch of the What Could Possibly Go Wrong 1 is successful. We are off the pad. That doesn't give us science, but it is successful. What is that little dot out there? There's a little tiny dot on the shore. Oh, I can't see it anymore. I can still see my house. I can still see my house from here. Okay, so we're successfully flying. Oh my gosh, we're going to go Mach 1. We've just gone Mach 1. We've got a little bit of Mach effect, not that much because any more than that and the game starts chugging too hard yet. It's still in alpha. I don't think they've done any optimization of those kinds of things. And we're out of fuel, but we're still flying upwards. Let's see if the big ball shows us anything. No, we're going to make it up to 6,000 meters. Apoasis is really short, and I don't think we're actually going to get over water. We're at Apoasis in 2 seconds, 1 second, that's it. We're past Apoasis. We're on our way back down. It looks like we're coming right straight back down. Let's go back and take a look at the actual ship itself. And yes, we are in fact accelerating downwardly in a downward direction. That's good science. Let's get a crew report really fast. Crew report, the shores look inviting as you watch the waves roll into the coast. And that was worth 3.5 science. We're not going to try an EVA at this point, are we? Are we going to try an EVA? I don't think we're going to try an EVA at this point. That seems like that would be a little bit insane. We could. We're still 4,000 feet up. No, you know what? We're going to blow the chute. We'll let the chute act as a drogue. Kind of slow us down. We'll turn off the stabilization system. We'll let the drogue keep us pointing in the right orientation. And now let's get the ship ready for landing. There's not a lot we can do. There's really not a lot we can do. The antenna's stowed already. The ship itself, we could toggle the torque because we're not actually using it anymore. So we'll disable the reaction wheel so we're not burning electricity. And we can't jettison the engine. Eventually we'll get to a point where we'll have engines with the ability to jettison them. All we can do at this point is shut it down. This is the scariest thing about this first flight, is that everything you send up, that all has to come back down successfully. There's no... Oh dear. There's absolutely no separation of stages at this point. We don't even have the ability to stick some explosive bolts between the bottom of the capsule and the fuel tank. And so everything comes back down in one package. And let us... I don't know where the best place to look from will be when we come down, but here we are. Here we are. We're coming in. I'm going to bring up my nav ball. There isn't anything I can do. Our G-forces are still minimal. And, oh, the chute is opened. All right, let's go inside and let us pull down that throttle, because we don't need the throttle up anymore. And check our radar altimeter. The radar altimeter actually shows us distance to rock, while the nav ball shows us distance to sea level. So then I really, really, really wish there was a radar altimeter view in the normal heads-up display. Well, let's go back to our heads-up display, and again, we're right on. We're retrograde to our direction of movement, which is exactly what we want. So we're going to, as they say with the shuttle flights, clutter down. There we go, clutter down. Turn off those heads-up displays. We're coming in really nice and slow. It's how slow? Clutter up. 9.8 meters per second. I'll tell you, at 9.8 meters per second, we're going freaking fast. That is measurable miles per hour. We are really, really moving fast here. I mean, good grief, we're moving 30 feet a second. Just think about that. 30 feet a second. Time for a little morning coffee here in the science lab as Jebediah is making his landing. But now all eyes are on the display as we've got Shadow, and here he comes. Jebediah is... Oh! That was a little bit more aggressive than we wanted that landing to be. But that looks to me like an intact capsule, and Jebediah is still good. And so what we're going to do is bring up our nav ball. I want to lay the capsule on its side using the reaction wheels, which I turned off, so I've turned them back on. Toggle torque. And everyone rock! Ooh, made it. We're over on our side. That's fantastic. We'll just use a little bit of roll. Get over this way, and then lock that, unlock it, roll back just a little bit, tiny little bit. Gotta get that door open. There we go. There, we should be able to get the door open. Now we've got our... Let's see if we can get another crew report. No, if it says review report, that means the report that we have is all the report that we're getting. So, Jebediah, it is time to put your helmet on and let go of your capsule. Oops, I didn't want to do that. Crap. Go back. Get out. There. Okay, and letting go of the ship. Ah, man, that was a rough landing. The last version of this game would have actually had Jebediah die. It didn't like the Kerbals coming in contact with any surface at all, and just... It was really unfortunate. They would just kind of step out of the capsule, crawl down the ladder, put their feet on soil, boom, dead. It was really sad. But here we are, and Jebediah is, man, that suit must weigh tens of pounds. It's so heavy. He is just, but he's made it. We're on land. Let us get a soil sample. I know what this sounds like, but this substance is what makes the scientists yell at us when we go into the labs without cleaning our boots first, and that is worth 9 science. And we'll get an EVA report. I don't think a spacesuit was entirely necessary to get here, was it? But I will say unto you that I think that anyone who would have gotten into that capsule without a space suit seriously needs to have their head adjusted. Seriously. And we're going to make the long, arduous trudge in our wonderful spacesuit back to the capsule. And we're going to grab a hold of that front latch, if we can reach it. There we are. And we're going to get back inside the capsule. And now we're going to recover the vessel. The surface sample from the Kerbal Space Center has been added to our science, and the EVA report has been added to the capsule science. So when we recover the vessel now, Jebediah comes back to the space station. He actually probably just walks. And we get all of that science back. The science is gold. The science is the very fabric of which we are going to be doing everything that happens here. And we got 19.9 science from that mission, which is fantastic. Heading back to the Science Research and Development Center, right now the only path that we have available to us in technology is to add basic rocketry. How hard can rocket science be anyway? That is the question we will ask in the next game. I'm going to go ahead and buy that. And we only have 14 left, which is insufficient to buy anything else. 15 is the lowest cost for survivability. So we're heading back to the center. Thank you very much for watching. It looks to me like the recording's working. It looks to me like the game is working and the computer's working. And this is just fantastic. So thank you very much for watching. And I will see you next time when we will apply some of that new technology that we've just discovered.